Hi there and welcome to another episode of Discussions of Exploration. You're here with your host Sabrina Ben Salmi, and today I'm joined with a very special guest, Linda Pallien. Thank you so much for joining us. Linda, I wonder if you can introduce yourself to the listeners and the viewers, please.
Absolutely. So my name's Linda Pallien. I work currently as a career consultant. So what I do is really empower and champion the dreams of others, both personal and professional. Also, I'm the founder of CheerLinda, which is, again, in the same vein of empowering people and just really championing that inner beauty that everyone has and that inner genius.
Thank you so much, Linda. I love the topic that you've actually chosen to discuss today, authenticity, showing up as you are for who you are. And that's something that really resonates with me as a woman. And I find that when we all start showing up as our true self, that's the difference that makes the difference. So Linda, really, why did you choose that topic area?
I think it's really important, and also something that's very rare at the moment, that a lot of people are missing, this sort of the ability to be yourself. And not just with, it's also something that sounds a bit cliche, you know, be yourself, be you, be beautiful, but it's almost easier than done, because in some contexts, sometimes we don't think that we have the permission to be ourselves. For example, at work, how much of yourself can you really be in your work, and do you even dare do that? Or with people, and sometimes we adapt and take on other people's identities and we don't even know that we're doing it. So it's really a passion of mine, because one of my values of what I do is helping people express that inner genius in their work, but also inner beauty in their personal lives. So that really ties in together, and it's one of my core values as a person.
Beautiful. And I love that, what you said with regards to, can you actually be your true self at work? Because I've seen that play out. Like, I have definitely had conversations with people say, well, I don't know how it'll be received at work. You know, this is like my label job, but I have like a superhero side to me at nighttime, and I'm not sure how I'm going to integrate the two. And I love that, like, clients that you work with, like, talk to us a bit about your journey. Perhaps it'd be nice for the listeners to gauge and understand, like, who is Linda Pallien?
Who is Linda Pallien? Ooh. How far down the rabbit hole do you want?
How far are you going to allow us to go?
I'll tell you a little bit about where I started, or how I grew up in my childhood. I was born and raised in Accra, Ghana, in West Africa. Two beautiful parents who are together and married. I have two other brothers. It was a great place to grow up. You know, we didn't have a lot, but we weren't stereotypically poor African family. But my parents were really strivers. So they took us to the best schools and tried to get us the best education, up until we migrated to the UK when I was 13, 12, just turned 13. So that was interesting to start my teen life in the West. And then, of course, I did my education. I have a passion for arts, but I wasn't allowed to pursue it per se, and through no fault of theirs too. When I moved to the UK, I remember it was the first time in my life that I could choose my own subjects. You know, I'd gone from studying accounting and business and maths, and now I could just choose topics. So I chose music and dance and drama, and then my head teacher actually called a meeting with my parents and politely encouraged me to change my choices. So I ended up doing triple science for GCSEs and business and back to maths. And then, of course, during my education, I went on to do business psychology, biology, and then do a degree in international business, French and Chinese.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's back to how much of yourself can you really be? There's the side of you that just wants to be free and hippie and crazy, and the other side that needs to fit into the marketplace, into jobs and creativity, which of course I've now learned that you can have it all and you can have both. So that was exciting. So that was my education. Went on to work in investment banking. Didn't really fit in there. So I moved on to the creative aspects to now where I help people with their careers and doing careers that authentically serve them. So I go right from downstream where people are burnt out to upstream in the schools, helping people choose their first careers before they even get there, so they're on the right track. So that's the journey I've been on. Outside of that, I love personally to express that creativity. So I love singing and I love music. I wouldn't say I was the best singer, but it doesn't stop me.
Good for you, girl. Oh, I love
dance and everything creative. Again, I don't think I'm super coordinated, but I go for fun and fulfillment and whatever makes me happy and smile. Art as well. I like people. So I'm part of a lot of networking branches, yoga, all of this interactive activities as well, and love the great outdoors.
Oh, yeah, I've seen some of your social media posts. I saw a post that I miss hiking. It's absolutely gorgeous. And you know what I love about what you shared is that when we talk about authenticity, sometimes we can get very much stuck in the box that it's any one thing. I love the way you described it in the essence that we're multifaceted beings. So it's that your authenticity is about allowing yourself to express yourself in all of those key areas. And I really like that.
Absolutely. I think you've used a word that's a key to my heart. We're multifaceted human beings. You know, we tend to try and put ourselves in a box, whether it's define ourselves by our careers or decide I'm going down this path and that's the only thing I can do, or because I'm working in this field, I can't explore this other field. But I think we would do well to explore all of the other different areas, what we love, what we don't. And we let children do that to some extent. As a kid, you know, they want to do piano and they go do piano for a while. Next time they want to do volleyball classes. And I mean, that gets expensive really quickly. I think that it's more encouraged as kids to try new things. Whereas when we grow up, the more we grow up, we force ourselves to specialize and fit into a mold. And there's something to be said about consistency and specialization. One thing, if you know that's where you want to go, but it doesn't stop you experimenting with other things, you know, and just seeing what else this onion layer can uncover in all of these talents that we have.
Oh, I love that. I love the way you put that. And what that brings to mind for me when I'm listening to you quite eloquently speaking that is the fact that we all have an inner child. So it's such a shame that we actually silence that as we get older. It's very true. It's like, okay, well, this is who I am and this is the hat that I'm wearing. And I feel that part of us starts to die. Do you agree that if we don't kind of feed that side of us, that inner child that really wants to come out and play and be curious and explore? And yeah, I love that. What do you think around that aspect?
Absolutely. You be aware that I did a talk recently, a TEDx talk on this topic area, and I described it as being in the wrong role for you, or actually forcing yourself to fit a mold. Is like being a unicorn in a straight jacket, wearing a straight jacket.
Wow.
Because that's the sort of image it brings to mind. You know, this unicorn is magical, mystical, and unique, and can do. It's mesmerizing, but it's now restricted in this uncomfortable environment to what some sort of conformity of people's ideas of them. And sometimes we put ourselves in that straitjacket, and sometimes others put us in there.
Listeners, I just want to echo that. I think it's such an excellent point. Listeners, I love the way Linda so lovely really explained, like, are you putting yourself in a straitjacket or are you allowing others to? That is such a good analogy, because sometimes we restrict ourselves by our own mindset, or we allow other people to strap us down. And if you're magical and mystical and you've got so much to give to the world, it's such an injustice not to do so. Oh, I'm loving this conversation around authenticity. Getting me excited. Linda, how did you get to the premise of realizing that this was the difference that made the difference? Because I guess there's many things that we could go, okay, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, but I really love the essence that you are the secret ingredient. So once you start inserting yourself into your life, everything else slots into place.
Oh, I love that. Insert yourself into your life. You're making slogans all over the place.
You're doing it to me.
In my line of work, so working as a career coach, when I left finance, I started working as a career coach. And within career coaching in itself, or within HR, so I did a bit of recruitment first and then into career coaching. Everyone has a different opinion on what's acceptable and what's not. So sometimes I would do a short list from 1,000 applications, and then I'd go and give it to the hiring manager, and they would completely disagree with who I think is the top candidate and not. So I started to see that we have different yardsticks when it comes to who would be suited for the role. Sometimes people take a holistic approach to, this is a human being and they have achieved this, so therefore they possess this set of skills, which we can then teach them what they need to know. But then other people might be looking at, have they done it before, exactly the same thing in exactly the same way? So are we looking for someone that we can mold, or are we looking for like sheep? So I started to find that then, when I did career coaching, that even though we had, and a CV or resume is a pretty standard document and you sort of know the components of it, but we were trying to put people pretty much literally into these components where sometimes they don't fit. They may have had varied experiences, or actually they don't have any experience at all, but they have other things. So it was, what's the difference between one piece of a CV I call me on paper, you on paper, one piece of, what's the difference between this person and that person who's got exactly the same skill set? And it's how they express it and everything else that makes them unique. So I thought, wow, like, I'm talking to other career coaches and we're saying, do put this on your CV. No, don't put that. Why would you put that? And we had these different opinions of it. So then I thought, actually, what really makes a good CV for me, or what makes a good description, is where the person's really been able to communicate their value to me, and all of the rules go out the window. It doesn't matter whether they've used this font or this color, or they've said this, or they've achieved this qualification, but they've really showed me that they're capable to do, so they've communicated their value. And then that's where that came in, and I could apply it in other things. When you're dating, like you might have all of these Tinder profiles, all of these. What makes me want to talk more to this person than not to this other person? And what are the telltale signs? Do they sound confident? And you can look at it from their pictures or from the way they communicate. So it's definitely the person. And I thought, okay, well, I want to be in the business of nurturing the person.
You know what? I really love that you quite eloquently brought in the essence of when we're dating, when we're in the place of work, because the truth is our authenticity is relevant in all those aspects, because we are always out there somewhat promoting ourselves, selling ourselves, seeking that relationship, no matter where it is. Is it in the career? Do you want a promotion, or do you want to go into an industry, or meeting new people? And I really love what you said with regards to the dating aspect, because I feel that it's in the essence of our authenticity, we're able to attract our composite. Because would you agree, like if I'm pretending to be something or someone that I'm not, the person I'm going to attract is in alignment with that, and it's going to be really nice at start, and you know the honeymoon stage is going to be brilliant, but slowly when they start to reveal their true essence and you start to reveal yours, you can imagine you'll start to hit heads on, you know.
Absolutely. And as you said, in any context, you know, as parents, for example, your personal brand or your personal professional brand comes into that. You know, you have a mother who doesn't have anything, probably no mothering skills whatsoever, but their kids love them because they can feel that. They don't need to be able to provide the best things for them, but they have this bond with their kid that another mother who can provide everything else but doesn't have the same bond won't do. So the kid would want to stay with them. And again, this is how you're communicating your brand and your value and your love and all of the different aspects to you, how open you are. Can they come to you and tell you something or not, you know? So that authenticity goes beyond. I know we love to categorize stuff, and that's how the brain works. You know, neuroscience will tell you that the brain wants to put a label, has a label maker and wants to put a label literally on every aspect. But being able to then communicate, whether it's to your kids, whether it's to at work, whether it's to a potential mate, you really need to communicate that.
I really love that, and listeners, I really hope you're getting the essence of how you can connect that to yourself in your personal life, because I love that the fact that authenticity is such a broad encompassing skill set that we need to have. I think it's a life skill for me. That's the way I look at it. Mm-hmm. And I literally did a video about why our children need their personal brands, and it's actually about going back to what Linda's saying. It's about the authenticity. So me as a mother of 5, I'm trying to teach my children how to retain their authenticity in a number of ways. And wouldn't it be interesting, listeners, for you to start reflecting, like, how would your life look if you actually took on board some of the things that Linda is sharing? Because imagine the relationships that you have, imagine the career choices you would have taken or not taken. It's quite interesting when we start to show up, how it impacts the decisions we make. And I wonder if you can talk about that with regards to when clients start working with you and they start to get a gauge, a sense of what their authenticity is. What tends to be the difference for them?
Yeah, I love that you're asking this. And authenticity, by the way, takes more courage than anything else. Fighting battles and everything else that we consider to have courage, because more times than not, it's going to be surprising, it's going to be the road less traveled, it's going to be not even probably up to the world standard of good. You know, when I sing, or if I write a poem and they're like, oh yeah, but this rhyme doesn't go here, and it sort of falls apart. But that's what I felt like writing, so that's what I wrote. So authenticity really takes that courage, and we've just been talking about with a client, you know, how that shows up is having the courage to almost go against the grain. And I don't want this to be taken in the cliche way of, you know, we want to do going left, so go right, just for the sake of it. But really going with how you feel and gut. So actually, I had a call yesterday with a client, which is a brilliant example of this. So we were talking about marketing, and she says, I'm so bored of the traditional ways of marketing. I don't want ClickFunnels. I don't want paid adverts. Clickbait, I mean, and paid adverts. No offense to ClickFunnels. It's a great platform. I just walked right into that one, didn't I? Clickbaits or your lead magnets are just want to give value to the right people. And this was her dilemma. And I know you think you're unique right now, but you're not. Everyone feels like they want that, but it's the delivery of it. Most people will go with what their idols are doing.
Yes.
So I want to be like the greats of this world. Well, the greats of this world are apparently maybe sending emails a day or creating a funnel or doing a podcast, and therefore I start one just for the sake of. It was, well, how do you think you could authentically reach those people? And all of a sudden, it didn't become about going and doing a talk on the big stages. It was, hey, this is my target audience. I want to help people who need this service. So she said, sometimes I almost just want to do an advert where I do a video and say, hey, I'm looking for somebody who's authentic and blah, blah, like a personal ad in a newspaper. And I said, do that. Write a personal ad in a newspaper for business. And it's not a classified, but it's just a look me in the eyes sort of version of it. This is me. This is what I want. I'm looking for you. If you're ready to do this, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about all of this stuff. I'm looking for that one person or these 5 people that are my tribe, that connects to my vibe. And that's it. So it's completely against the grain for someone who is in a high position coach to do that, but it's authentic to her. And I said, well, go for it.
I love that, because it just literally cuts out the chase. So instead of being in the sea of sameness, it's going, actually, what's the aligned action I desire to take? And in essence, when the person's in that driving seat, it's like literally, it's not what should I do, it's actually what do I desire to do, what am I choosing to do now? And I love that. I really, really love that. And then I imagine that can also start to saturate other areas of the individual's life. That is really amazing. What I love about the coaching that you do is that it's not like, okay, well, maybe if I'm listening to this and I'm not really thinking about being in a career, or by the way, I might be a business owner, or I might be a stay-at-home mom, or it's like it still applies to you, because we're talking about you being the key ingredient in all facets of your life. And I really love that. I wonder if we could start talking about some of the things that you do in terms of creativity and showing up as your authentic self in your life, because I know how amazingly creative you are. I know you've got some amazing things to share with our listeners and viewers. So it'd be nice if we can delve into that aspect of Linda.
Absolutely. So I'll start within career coaching, or what I'm going to put under the umbrella of career coaching, because sometimes even me, when I say career coaching, I imagine your careers guidance counselor with the glasses. Telling you that you're going to be a teacher.
That's so not you.
So to begin with, I came up with a career acronym that really just helps people. And a career can be business, it could be being employed or not. And again, that everything is fine as long as it resonates with you and it fits in with what you're trying to achieve. So I'm known for saying not everybody's an entrepreneur, and also not everybody's an employee. Sometimes you think, I just have this need to rebel against people, and therefore I cannot be put in a job description. Or when you have to choose your job title, when you've got I'm an X/Y/G/Y.
Oh my God.
So I published this book called How to Career, with the subtitle Uncover Your Full Potential, Market Your Value, and Earn Your Worth in 6 steps. CAREER is the acronym, and I chose that because it's easy to remember. So C is cause, what's the big why, and what's the thing you care about the most, that you really want to make a difference in any sort of capacity, whether it's work or outside of work. A is for authenticity. What is what really resonates with you and what doesn't. R is the reason why, what's the compelling thing. What's a compelling reason, excuse, the compelling, it could be your kids that are watching, it could be to not let yourself down, but what's a compelling thing that's driving you to that action to work towards the cause. E is for your environment, the environment you keep, whether it's who you let up here or who you let physically into your circle of friends. So it's your mental environment as well as your physical environment. And you really want to stand guard of that, because that really affects what you're trying to achieve. E then is for excitement. I love everything fun and exciting, and of course, if it needs to get your juices going, it's got to be fun. Otherwise, what's the point? It's going to be fun. So excitement is your passions and everything that energizes you. It could also actually stand for energy. This is the first time I thought about that. It's the energy. And then R, because we're talking in terms of career, is remuneration. How can you authentically communicate that the value to be able to get the remuneration you deserve? So whether it's recognition, whether it's money, whether it's bonuses, whether it's likes and followers, etc. But that's the remuneration for it. It's a career. So that's how that showed up in authenticity in this.
I love it. And the listeners that are interested in purchasing a copy of that book, where could they actually find it, please?
Absolutely. So it's available on Amazon.com, Amazon UK, all of the Amazons. Also by my website, MyCheerLinda.com. So MyCheerLinda is my professional coaching name. As you can see, I like to be a cheerleader for people's dreams. So I thought it made sense, because I can have a bit of it or fun with it. And I can use the song, Ooh, I think that I found myself a cheerleader. In this case, a cheerleader.
I love that. I love that. And
so that's how I do it. Inject creativity in terms of career coaching and helping people be the best professional they can do.
Beautiful. And again, listeners, I can't echo this enough, is that although it says how to career, but what if you apply that to different areas of your life? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in a job, in a career. Yes, that's the specific target audience, but if you would agree, the acronym has some 6 core values that can be applicable to anybody in any walk of life. So I really love that, Linda. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And that's absolutely, as you said, the whole message is start with you. You're supposed to know who you are, identify the value you bring, create that brand, then amplify that brand, and then leverage it in everything you do.
Wow. For me, you just gave me a flashback, because one of my biggest struggles was confidence, self-worth. And listeners, I don't know what walk of life you are in right now, but if there's anything that you're struggling with, I would suggest that this book could really help, because I know that if I knew my self-worth, if I knew who I was before I got married, before I started to have children, before I started coaching, that would be a big game changer for me. Why? Because I was literally everything to everyone apart from myself. And I'll say that again. I was everything to everyone apart from myself. So I would ask for, would you like something to drink, Sabrina? I'd be like, yeah, what would you like? Anything. Not to make a problem, just to be walking on eggshells, not to, I was just like, I had no values, no boundaries. What would you like to eat? Or what everyone else is eating. I would go shopping and buy everything for my family, favorite this, favorite that. And once a coach asked me, what's your favorite? I had no idea. So I wonder if the book can do one thing, and that one thing was to just give you the awareness of who you are, what you bring to the table, and the most valuable essence, what you're worth. That's a big game changer, because it kept me stuck for a very long time. It kept me saying yes when I really wanted to say no, because I just didn't have the courage to do that. So I really thank you so much. It just inspired me to share that. Thank you, Linda. Really, really nice.
My pleasure, and I totally resonate with that. Knowing, studying you will be the best thing you ever do. And it allows you to be able to say a powerful yes to stuff and a powerful no. It becomes that filter, of this is me, and yes, I can say Linda will definitely do this. No, she totally would not do this. And people don't even come to you with that stuff because you have set the standard for how you should be treated. So if you say anything, of course, anything comes to you. If you say only the best comes to you.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
it will definitely help listeners to insert some healthy boundaries in their life, and that is a big game changer, a massive game changer. Is there something else that you had to share with us that's very special? So very cool.
I wonder what that is. So I'll share this little nugget with you. So my name's Linda, as I've said, and actually what most people don't know is growing up, I hated the name, like, who named a Ghanaian child Linda? I wanted a proper African name, and I do have that. I have African names, but my first name was Linda, so I hated it. Up until the point I forced my parents to change my name, and my name was changed to Daisy for a whole year. I went through the whole registration school process, changed the register. I didn't answer to the name.
Oh, but you still have the power of authenticity. You want it at the time, we get it done. Oh, I love it.
So again, my parents had to change my name back. But that I share the story with you because as I grew older and I learned Spanish, I realized Linda means beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful. And people say, oh, that's it. When someone's trying to pick you up and they're like, oh, do you know what your name means? Beautiful. But I realized that it was a lot more than that. It's inner beauty and outer beauty, and it's really core and really precise to everything I hold dear. I love, if I saw a stranger having like just this belly laugh or this authentic laugh, and I can see the beauty radiating from their eyes, and that's what's the most attractive. And you're always most attractive when you're authentic and you're doing something you love, and your eyes are sparkling and your face is shining. It doesn't matter how many wrinkles you have or whatever, or how deformed your face is. You can see beauty in anything, when they're genuinely, authentically happy. So I created a brand called CheerLinda, naturally beautiful, natural beauty. And this is to empower everyone, men, women, to express that natural beauty. And of course, it's authentic to what I do professionally too, because it's bringing that inner genius I spoke about into your work. So CheerLinda is a personal brand of mine, and I used, and in my logo and my signature, and actually the logo of this is based on my signature, which is this, and this is my logo, and it's based on my signature. So it's Linda, and then a B, Boache, which is my maiden name. So that was, again, the core essence of me, and it forms a heart, which is the core of a human being, So again, really emphasizing that authenticity. And I was a bit worried using a heart as a signature or even as a logo, because how professional can you be when you're drawing hearts everywhere as a girl? But it really resonated with me because she was a heart on the sleeve. It's the core of a human being, it's the most. So I really, it resonates with me. And of course, it's being that naturally beautiful, authentic self, So I have this range, which is a range of jewelry. And as you can see, this is the 18-karat gold necklace pendant that comes with it. And this is is an empowering statement for everyone. And the good thing about it is, even though it has my name, Linda, on it, Linda means beautiful. So everybody can be natura Linda, naturally beautiful. And it's just an expression and a reminder to just be your own authentic, wacky, wonderful self, whatever that is, and that's okay. And you should fight to defend that natural beauty, because that's where the big bucks is, that's where the fulfillment is, that's where the fun is, that's where, when all is said and done, you'll be proud of. That's what you'll be proud of.
I absolutely love the way you have so artistically communicated that. I'm quite zenned out, so just forgive me. I'm literally just in awe of the way you communicated that, because I love the essence that it's the beauty, it's the inner and external beauty. And what a better way for you to actually embody your brand by actually going ahead and allowing that to be part of your signature. That is authenticity in the highest, because it's like, this is who I am. So what's the point of me going, oh, I don't really want to do that in public, and how do I kind of slot in? You're being the embodiment of the journey that you're inviting your current clients, but also new clients to come in and join in with. So you're not just speaking it for them to do, you're actually living this embodiment, and you're welcoming their internal and external beauty. I love that so much. Oh, you've made it difficult for me to speak now, Linda. To be honest, that's really beautiful. Listeners, I really hope that
I'm super passionate about it.
I can feel it. It's literally, it feels like I've just changed. Like you've just toned me down a bit. It's, listeners, I really hope you connected with what Linda has so beautifully just shared with you. How would your life look? And I can't emphasize this enough, because I really want you not to just watch the movie. Don't just look at this from an essence of you looking inwards, like embody it. What would it feel like if you started to step into this movie for you? Like what sort of shifts will you make? What sort of monumental shifts will you make? How could people start treating you differently when you go, well, here I am, and I've got my CheerLinda, and I understand who I am, and this is who I'm going to be. And now I'm the here. Come and meet me where I am at. I love that. I really do.
And to add to that, as I said, it takes a lot of courage to do that. And you and I and everyone else listening to this has seen people online who, by society standards, are completely nuts and deluded of their own self-worth and importance, and like, oh my God, does she not see how she looks, or does he not realize that he's not absolutely not making any sense? But you can't help but admire them, because they know who they are. They're going to put it in your face whether you like it or not, and if you don't like it, you can leave. Yes. And they're going to they attract people, because even if it's not what they're selling or promoting, it's the fact that they dare to be themselves, and that energy is so magnetic that it just draws people in. And to the common, you really just attracts your tribe again, and you. That's what everybody wants to do. I think at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants to do. They want to be able to say, I was happy. I did what I wanted to do. I enjoyed the experience as much as I could, and I didn't hold back. There's a reason why old people don't hold back. But we want to bring that in now, right?
I really love the way you described it, because I started to form an image in my mind of, we can be that person that's generating the income and feeling successful on the outside, but then you're somewhat surrounded by people you don't feel like they're your tribe, be that in your personal life, professional life. Whereas if you at least show up and you attract those, and the numbers are not important, because it's about the quality, it's not the quantity. So just really balancing that out, listeners. Like, how would that feel for you, being surrounded by a magnitude of people that you have to keep putting, okay, what hat did I tell them I'm going to put on so I can show up? But whereas you could just simply be. And
what mask is, a lot of people put on masks, in daily, and you've got this mask and that mask, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting to just try. And plus, the annoying thing is, it's a bottomless hole. You're never gonna please everyone,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Look at the
it's
current state in the world. You know, we hear that suicide rates are on the rise, anxiety and depression. And I wonder if it's just that people have just disconnected from their authenticity. And I think for me, authenticity is very important. I would rather know that I can turn to someone and be my true self than thinking, I wonder what I promised them. I wonder how they're expecting me to be. I wonder if they're always expecting that I'm always succeeding, I'm always happy. You know, it's tiring, just like what Linda said. It really is exhausting, and the repercussions are not worth it. You know, our health is our wealth, and look at the current state. When we go through like crisis, you know, midlife crisis or career crisis, relationship crisis, you're not interested in keep having to put on those hats and masks. You just want someone to hold you. We all need holding from time to time.
you want to say, hey, this is where I'm at. I know I'm not going to stay here forever, but this is where I'm at, and that's okay. And being okay with it. I'm okay. I'm super happy, and I'm okay with it. I'm feeling a bit low, and I'm okay with that because I know it's going to pass, and it's part of the human experience. Or my business is doing great, and I'm really grateful for it. My business is not doing so great, and it's part of the process and the journey, you know, and just taking it one step, but being okay.
Yes.
Wherever you are, you know, but giving your all at any given time.
Do you know what I love, Linda, what you keep saying, and I want to bring you back because I think the listeners can get so much out of this, is that you keep saying, you're not saying it's a walk in the park. You keep saying that you're not saying it's an overnight situation, but it's planting the seed. And I really think it's so important that the listener gets this. We're not saying that, you know, okay, authenticity and here I am. It's a work in progress. And if we're entirely honest, because obviously Linda and I are in each other's lives, it's something you have to be committed to. It's not just a case that, well, yeah, I'm authentic and that's all it is ever and ever. You know, we have seasons, we have dips, we need to be in the right environment, like what Linda correctly said. Like, who are you surrounded by? Because sometimes if your network or the support system keeps encouraging you to be who you're not, maybe it's time for a bit of a shift. And I would really love you to talk about the reality of authenticity is something you have to choose, and it's not a walk in the park. It means that you're going to have to be vulnerable with the deepest parts of yourself that sometimes you feel like, I've not done that before. I've never actually revealed the true essence of who I am to my partner, let alone the world. So, or even I have never even met me. Like, I've seen people walk straight past mirrors and they can't just stop and just connect. Like, I don't know if you would like to discuss a bit about that, Linda.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the bit about the mirror, and I want to come back to that, you know, really meeting you. And I'll tell you the story about how I got married to me. But before that, I honor that what you said about authenticity being a process, you know, because sometimes, and I'm currently writing about this in my new book. Sometimes we think, oh, I've done the work, I've done the personal, I know my value, but it's being okay that they're changing as you're growing, as your priorities change, you know, and it's a continuous review of, does this serve me at this point, you know? So for example, if you had, I want to be the funny person, and as a child it serves you because you earned you friends, etc. And now in your adult life, you can see that it's a mask for being who you really are. So that's not serving you anymore. So then it's okay for your values to change. It's okay to grow out of what you've defined yourself as that authenticity, and being okay with the changes that come. And maybe at a later point, it might serve you in the nursing home or somewhere. But it's okay to review that. And at any given point, keep reinventing it. And that's the beauty of it. You can reinvent yourself, but in line with the environment, what's going on up here, how you're feeling, you know, respecting that gut feeling. That is the truest knowing. Nobody knows where the gut comes from, and that's why it's beautiful. And one tip is it shuts everyone up. I always say, when people say, oh, I don't want to let them down, I don't want to. Simple. The simplest way to turn down something and stop the argument. It didn't feel right. I didn't align with that. It's a great opportunity, but for me, it's not the right thing right now. No one's going to argue with you and say, no, your gut didn't say that.
Oh God, I like that. Oh God.
If for any reason, if we haven't convinced you enough that authenticity is the way to go.
Absolutely. I'm really glad you shared that, because you've been saying it over and over again, and I just want you to realize that Linda and I totally agree. It is a process and you need to get on board, but the truth is you've got to get started. You've got to make the choice and you've got to be committed. And you mentioned that you'd like to go back to sharing aspects of how you got married to yourself. I like that. Jay's in for a treat.
The love's lit. But again, you asked me how I got started on this journey, and there was a time, and it's still a process. There's some aspects that I haven't nailed down, and I have to keep going back to it. But there was a time where I definitely put other people first, and in one of my past relationships, not to say that I've had several, but in a past relationship, I found that I was getting attracted to someone else that wasn't my partner at the time. And that really bothered me, because I really loved my boyfriend at the time, and he was the best person he could be, really understanding, really supportive. And I just couldn't forgive myself for finding this other person attractive, even though I hadn't done anything with them or hadn't cheated. But in my mind, sometimes when you're up there, if it's there, it's as good as having committed the act, And that was really hard for me, to the point that it became my dominant thought. It got really dark, and I got really even nearly suicidal over the thought of, of having betrayed someone else. Or having really just done something to someone who doesn't deserve it, to the point where I found myself one day ready to end it all, and this is 48 hours. I've locked myself in the room. He was away at the time, and I'm this is the thoughts that's running in my head. I'm a bad person. I don't deserve this, and he doesn't deserve it. And why am I thinking about this and all of this stuff? And I don't deserve to live, all of this stuff. And I'm not saying that it just dawned on me like a eureka moment. That doesn't happen to me. I wish I don't even know how the process was, but slowly I started to realize, wow, I am putting this person's feeling and thoughts way above mine, that I'm willing to not even find out what happens for the rest of my life. I'm willing to end it all because of this one event that, in the grand scheme of things, is just a drop in this whole lifetime that I have. And I found over and over again, every time I say no when I mean yes, or every time I say yes when I mean no, I'm giving away that power, and that I'm putting someone else before me, and I don't want to offend them, or I'm just going to do this. So I decided to commit to me, but really commit to putting me first in this in this sort of, I'm going to marry me. I'm going to fall in love with this person, as screwed up, as crazy, as random as she is. But this is the one person I've got. And if I don't stand up for her, no one else will. And of course, and not that he's mean or he even asked me to. He didn't ask me to. But that was, I've chosen to put myself secondary to his needs. So I decided, okay, well, if we get married to Linda, then whatever happens, we'll choose Linda. And if I had someone else in the process, of course I'll apologize, but I want to be there for her and know that I've always got her back. So then, of course, because I love jewelry and everything, as you guys have seen, I bought me a nice ring and looked in the mirror to the person in the mirror and said, hey, we're going to have each other's back. And we may not always make the right choices for us. And it might be a bumpy road. We're definitely going to make mistakes, for sure. So we're okay with that. We're cool. We know it's coming. But we're going to have each other's backs. And I have to check in with you first and your words and your feelings. And we're going to validate that above everything else. And after I put myself a nice little ring. I didn't buy me a diamond. I wish I did, but I didn't. It was a lovely pearl ring with a cubic zirconia around. But that was it. And I still have that ring to this day, long before I got married, long before. And I mean, I carried on the relationship, but it's so powerful. So sometimes I joke when I meet people and I'm like, Linda loves Linda, and it sounds like she's joking about it or she's very up herself, but I know where I've been. I don't want to go there again. I want to put anybody else's feelings before mine. And I'm glad I didn't act on it, and we carried on that relationship till it ran its course. But I was at peace that there'd always be at least one person that has got my back, which is me.
Oh, wow. That is so beautiful. Listeners, are you ready to make that level of commitment to self? I really love that. It's like a promise ring, so to speak, promising yourself that you're going to have your own back. Out of this, I've enjoyed every aspect of this conversation, but the way I feel like this would be a nice place to close, because I think that I don't want to talk over something that's so important. It's absolute paramount for the whole message of this authenticity to actually leave this to serenade the listeners. So what I would say is that, would you like to leave a final message and maybe just allowing the listeners, how can they reach out to you and connect with you? Because I really love what you've just shared.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. Of course, my name's Linda Pallien, so you can contact me on all the social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can contact me on MyCheerLinda.com, MyCheerLinda, and it's all one word, or CheerLinda.com as well. And you can find that on social media. If you want to get your hands on one of these beautiful reminders, and it comes in keychains and bracelets and whatever, however you want to remind yourself, or you can even draw it. I give you permission to draw it. I love that. I really want you to have that reminder of CheerLinda as well. So CheerLinda.com, Facebook, MyCheerLinda, or simply Linda Pallien. There's not very many people called Linda Pallien, actually. I think I'm the only one. So that will come on, and do reach out. Your messages, anything you want to talk about, authenticity, personal branding, having fun, being creative, selling yourself, transferable skills, everything that brings out that inner beauty and that inner genius. I've got you.
Beautiful. That's so nice. Do you have a hashtag for this, mylinda.com, this CheerLinda and beautiful?
Hashtag CheerLinda, hashtag MyCheerLinda, hashtag fabulous.
Oh, I love that. I love the authenticity of this discussion, and this is why I love discussion. But I do want to end with the message. I do not want to talk over that message. So listeners, it's been a pleasure to share our conversation with you. Linda, it's been an absolute delight to connect with you. We always have so much fun when we do. So sending you loads of love, and
thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for helping me share this, and actually by talking about it, just being able to remind myself why.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much.